play of the game from way down.
True, silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bombs going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bomb stats, Dingo gonna find Rainer.
Oh, the life finder keeps Maev up. It was going to be a close thing.
And healing, what? Get out of no! No!
Triple stun again. Big flanks coming out from the Blaze.
It's a death metal though.
Death metal into the double, triple kill.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series Season 7. This is probably the last cast of the entire season. It's not the last game, but it's the last cast, since we're doing a replay cast. This game here was in Week 7. This is going to be between Church of Murky and ProBUs. Both of these are Division D East teams. And Church of Murky was sitting at number 4 in the seeding going into the playoffs. ProBUs at number 6, tied with Zildjian Distillery and Wood Tap that we just saw a few moments ago. Excuse me. So we do have everything set up and ready to go here, with the exception of the map bans, because I'm a terrible human being, and even though I had everything set up, that's the one thing I did not actually do. So let me get that fixed here. Let's see, so that was NGS Season 7. So what do we have? We've got Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom. That sounds familiar. I think that that's how this started on the last game. And then we've got Sky Temple and Dragonshire. So those are the maps that are going to be banned out. Our first game is going to be played on Infernal Shrines. It looks like that was the map pick of Church of Murky. And it looks like they're even on the right sides. Thank you guys for setting up your teams in the proper locations. And all right, now since this is a replay cast, the overlay is going to be a little bit awkward. It's not going to line up, so I'm going to pull that down partway through the cast so that you can see the talents, because that's the other thing. All the talents are going to show along the top of your screen. They're not going to show at the bottom like you can normally see. I'll have to pause just to fix the sound. You may hear that getting real loud in the background. And yeah, so I'll do that all here in just a moment. How are you guys doing tonight? Glad that you're spending a little bit of your Friday evening with yours truly. All right, sound is fixed. And fix that. There we go. Oh, it's Liz. All right. Hey, tell Alex I said hello. Hi, Alex. Hopefully she's watching. It's early enough. It could happen. All right, let's get this started. Well, go ahead. Let's go. Come on. There you go. All right, on the left here, we've got Church of Murky, and in fact, it's a Murky. Gonna be played by Redbeard. The dude gonna be bringing in the Kira, Orion on Asmodan, J-Show 574 on Anduin, and Shock on Johanna. And on the right for ProBUs, we have Sage on the Malthael, Secret Asian Man on Lunara, Aruba on Orphea, getting a little dance action in there. Hung Fu going to be playing Alexstrasza, and Dragon 478 on the Anubarak. Alright, so heading into this, what do we have for questing talents? Anything? So, Fatal Wounds for Kira, so looking to get the 200 stacks. Now, I wonder if this was pre-patch. It is, so 125 stacks. So this is when Kira was still fairly new. I think this was the week that she was playable in NGS, but had not been altered yet, because there's only about a week of time for that. So she's going to be a very strong hero, as Anubarak's going to be the first kill of the game, falling to that that Hunter in Kira. But what else do we have? Any other questing talents? So we've got the bribe, fishy deal there for Murky. He's going to be looking to pick up the camps as often as possible. It looks like that's about it, as Alex Straza getting deleted there from the team, and get the kill secure coming from Anduin. And that's going to be here in the bot lane, 3 versus 4. Murky versus Malthael on the top. So Malthael doesn't get a lot of healing, so he's got to fight in the wave, the minion waves, to get as much healing as possible, because his healing is percentage based, and Murky has no health basically. So that is going to be a difficult matchup for Malthael, and as we can see, Kira is kind of sharking around up here. So once Malthael comes back out into this lane, we'll expect to see Kira maybe move in for this. And here she comes. So he just used his Wraith Strike. Now, the revolving sweep did miss, but it may not matter, as she's getting the additional damage from her fatal wounds there, and is going to get that kill secure. And Lunara is going to head up, try to catch that soak, but you can see here Murky, does he already, he doesn't have enough to bribe this all, right? No, he doesn't. Just the one, and you know, the dogs have pretty low health. They do less damage overall than the shaman, so they'll be able to pick this up relatively for free. In the bot lane, let's check in on Azmodan stacks. Can we see those in this? 29 stacks so far for Azmodan, so running a little behind. In this comp, I don't know that Azmodan necessarily is going to stack very well until the shrines are active. First shrine is going to be a frozen shrine, so I feel like at least in this early game, until they get some Asmo value, that ProBUs has the better clear. They've got Orphea, they've got Lunara, they have Dragon Queen. You know, they have a lot of ways to get AoE damage. And Azmodan just doesn't do that much damage here. Both teams getting camps in the lower half of the map, although that's going to give the rotation advantage here to Church of Murky. We'll see if they are, how far they're able to get when they get up here to the top. And Lunara's by herself. She doesn't have the ability to jump out of danger here with Leaping Strikes, because she's not level 10 yet. But we do see ProBUs here stopping to clear out the mid lane, so they'll have the pressure in the bottom lane. And I don't know that that was necessarily worth it. The Siege Camp is going to get some value, but they're already about half behind on this Punisher. And with this being a frozen Punisher, and you know, I hadn't even considered the Murky. Of course, the Murky's got pretty decent AoE damage too, so he's going to get a lot of value as the revolving sweep going in. Nubrak burrow charging in. J-Show on the Anduin is in quite the danger place, as he is going to go down, as well as Murky, but Murky will be back here in a moment. Hung Fu on Alex Straza is very low, can't really contribute a whole lot now, other than this big W circle, which is a nice, easy target for Anduin. And oh, by the way, they managed to get the Kira kill into that as well, as Hung Fu was behind there. So that's going to allow for ProBUs now to get started on this Punisher here. And again, like, Murky can just go in there and get some of these essentially for free. I think he only got a couple. But they're still, now they're back to even. Kira's coming, the Siege Camp is in the bot lane, getting a little bit of pressure. Just take a look at that, the tower's up there. And level 7s are up for both teams. So we see the Alex Straza circle. Now, we have not seen Dragon yet. There's the Dragon Queen trying to come out to secure this, probably a little bit late. So I don't know if maybe she used it earlier. But they just barely, ProBUs just barely is able to pick this up, making use of the Dragon Breath there. And it looks like the dude on Kira as well, once again, gonna go down here. And the Frozen Punisher, again, this is after they've been updated, so the Frozen Punisher with the lockdown onto these towers is gonna get a lot more value. And this is why I was saying that it seemed like it might have been a bad idea for ProBUs to delay getting up here. It ended up working out for them. It was very close though, 38 to 40. So like, they just about perfectly timed that and got the kills they needed to make sure they could get this. And because of this lockdown now, they're going to be able to get this first fort. Although Dragon in a little bit of danger, doesn't have a lot of mana, so probably has enough to burrow charge out. And it looks like they do get the well as well. But in the bot lane, Murky, able to get the pressure going, has quite a significant minion wave. Likely able to get this tower down. So that's the wall and both towers. So that's going to help set up for the next Punisher. Now, it could be in the bot lane, it could be in the mid lane. But either way, that's going to provide value now. And it probably got more value, it did, than the camp that was done in the bot lane. But that is XP just kind of sitting there waiting for ProBUs to pick it up. And, you know, Orphea, with the Murky here on the team, Orphea is going into that chomp build. Now, this was a build that you saw a lot of at the beginning when she came out, but the revolving sweep onto a Nubarak and trying to catch out the Impale onto the dude here. They're trying to finish the job on Kira, but she can provide so much self-healing that it's deceptive. And let's not forget her level 4 talent here. Let me showcase this. Your pain, my gain. Up to 30 armor with the auto attacks. Then Healmonger, and this was nerfed a bit. So every time she uses her Blood Rage, which is her W ability, it's just a cooldown ability about every 8 seconds or so. If the hero that has those stacks of her dot damage is under 50%, it adds healing. She already gets healing. It adds healing in the form of 292 at the time. So if she can keep her wounds on a couple of targets, that turns into she can easily field half of her health bar in just a brief moment. And with the 30 armor, all of a sudden that means it's nearly impossible to kill her. But in that time that I was discussing Kira abilities, level 10s are online, and we're going to see some of this going on here as the engage coming in from a Nubarak diving onto the Johanna. But that's about it. So let's get started here. We've got the, is it Tide of Sin? Tide of Sin for Asmodan, giving him that extra damage. Let's take a look at his talent. So he's up to 194, so that's all right. So that is going to eventually provide a significant amount of damage. The Light Bomb going out is going to get the stun onto the Orphea. The final strike, though, missing. So not able to get the kill there. And Orphea bringing in the Crushing Jaws is able to get the damage in onto the dude. Kira getting Life Grip, Leap of Faith out of the problem area. So is going to be able to survive. But let's go over those ults there. So we saw Tide of Sin from the Asmodan. We saw the final strike from Kira. The Light Bomb, of course, was the initiating on Anduin. What do we have here? Is this Mortar? It is Mortar. Falling Sword from Johanna. So this was a point where you started to see a lot of Falling Sword Light Bomb combinations. So Falling Sword is a pretty short cooldown. I think it's 60 seconds. And, I'm sorry, it's 50 seconds. Even shorter. Light Bomb is 60 seconds. So there's a short overlap there that you have to wait. But it's almost the same. So you can throw up the Light Bomb, Johanna jumps into the air, and then wherever she's at, even though she's not on the map, the Light Bomb goes off. So, and we also have the March of the Murlocs for the Murky there. On the other side, we've got that Cocoon. We saw the Crushing Jaws. Here comes that Light Bomb into the March of the Murlocs. Johanna going in, and now a Nubarak very slowed as all of the damage going in onto a Nubarak and Alexstrasza. And of course, as Alexstrasza loses health, it's that much harder for her to heal because all of her healing, not all of her healing, her base Q single target heal is based entirely on her current health. We also have the Leaping Strike from Lunara, last rites rather, from Mephisto, he's not in this game, Malthael, and Alexstrasza. So it looks like we had a brief pause there in the game. I'm actually going to turn the chat off. We don't need to see all that because it doesn't affect us. So 13's available for ProBUs. But of course, with the deaths finding themselves on the wrong side of a Mortar Punisher. So the Punisher will take down the wall here. One tower is... Actually, both of the towers are almost halfway down, so those will be going down pretty soon here. This Punisher is going down very quickly. But Hung Fu there on the Alexstrasza getting a lot of damage. Here comes the final strike, which gets the land on Alexstrasza. The Falling Sword, though, stunning out 3. And it looks like, I don't know if they haven't, you know, let's say, mastered the combo of the Light Bomb Falling Sword, or if it's just not something that they were going for. You know, certainly seen a lot less of the Falling Sword Light Bomb combo these days, but it still happens. It still exists. And it's monstrous. It's pretty brutal because the Light Bomb goes off and you get stunned for, I don't know, a second and a half or whatever it is. And then you get the Falling Sword, which is, oh, okay, 1.25 seconds. Then you get the Falling Sword, which, again, she can place, so you're staying still. And if you get the 20 upgrade, it's even worse, because now you're standing still underneath the Holy Bolts, which are reducing the cooldown, and you're taking a bunch of damage. So, it's pretty crazy. Thank you for the feedback, Elves. But here comes Anubrak diving in, has the slow onto Johanna and Anduin here. And it looks like this could be exactly the engage that ProBUs wants, but Murky coming in with the March of the Murlocs is gonna, looks like gonna just all by himself get the kill onto Alexstrasza, but the Anubrak staying on top of the Anduin, so it's a healer trade here. Not really sure who wins that. I feel like Johanna and Kira are able to self-sustain pretty well, but so can Malthael. But not well enough, it would seem. Yeah, and Aruba there on the Orphea could sustain pretty well too. So I feel like that if they ever got into an equal fight, then, you know, maybe ProBUs could win that. But I don't know, even that's hard to say, because Murky's talents, you know, giving him the extra healing. Now, what does he take here? Rejuvenating Bubble. So when he uses that invulnerability, he's getting 40% of his health back. So that's a pretty, you know, pretty significant boost for him to be invulnerable for several seconds, and then also all the damage you did pretty much erased. It looks like they're gonna go ahead and set this up, set up the Shaman camp so it can be picked up when the Punisher's announced. Now it'll be interesting to see if Lunara ever sends her Wisp over there. For right now, she's just using it as a control point to make sure that they know in case anybody sneaks up from beneath them. They know exactly where at least 3 of the people are. And of course, Asmodan over here holding the line. And he can still throw out his minions. You know, he can throw out Demon Lieutenants every once in a while into the lanes. But ProBUs with the kill onto Murky. They're going to get started on the Shaman camp here. Now, this very slightly favors ProBUs, because they do have this top fort down. So even though they both have Shaman, they both have minion waves, we've got a catapult coming here, and that's going to meet up with the Shaman in just a moment. So that's going to allow their Shaman camp to press a little bit harder. Now, the bot lane, of course, the opposite. But there's no Shaman camp going in the bot lane, so not quite as pressing of an issue. But Malthael's up in the top. I don't even think that Malthael needs to stay there. Looks like he did help to get a little bit of damage there onto the Shaman camp, but a little bit late coming down, and Malthael does have Pale Horse, so he did get here pretty quickly. March of the Murlocs coming out, and once again, that's zoning out the Dragon Queen. Murky is going to go down. There's the Light Bomb onto the Falling Sword, and that's going to hit the Anubrak. Alexstrasza's Lifebinder went out there. I think I forgot to mention that earlier, but the dude now in danger here, getting the last rites, is going to fall. Crushing Jaws coming out onto Johanna, but the Leap of Faith not enough to save the Crusader this time. And Redbeard in the backline trying to get as much on this point as possible. Only needs 2 more. And it's going to be Asmodan dunking for the win, nearly killing the Alexstrasza in the process. And the ping's going out, calling that, hey, we're getting structure damage. Somebody needs to defend this. And the catapult and the Shaman camp ultimately going to get at least that wall here. And we can see Anubrak here getting the Punisher to leap back, stay away from structures so that they can try to clear this in a manner that's going to prevent it from doing any significant structure damage. They're already at half, so they should be able to clear this before it's able to even, you know, make its way to the keep. And that seems to be the case. Punisher is quite interested in punching anything it can in the face as it falls just before the towers. But because of that, with as far away as ProBUs is, we're going to see now Church of Murky making their way to as many camps as they possibly can. But that's not going to include the aggressive camp, as Murky was pretty far forward there. Is going to be able to make it away, maybe? Question mark? There's the light bomb, just in time, able to get the 3-person stun there. So that the other thing is that gives Johanna a nice fat shield when she comes down. So even if she's putting herself in an awkward place a little bit far forward, look at how much damage going out onto a Nubrak from the March of the Murlocs, having to force out the Lifebinder just to keep the Beetle alive. And that's now going to lead to Ando in here about half health. The Burrow Charge in from a Nubrak, very low health though. And here comes the dude. Might just be able to have enough damage to get the kill there if he's got that fatal wounds, but or blood plague, whatever it is, anyways. But it's gonna be Kira falling to the dot damage and the kill from the MVP goat camp here, getting onto Lunara. And again, Anubrak has no health. Look at this. Alex Raza also has no health. So the only player on the team that has any, and not that much to begin with, is Orphea here for ProBUs. So a 3 versus 3 ultimately. But I mean, even Murky just walks in. He could get kills with as low as the ProBUs heroes are right now. And Orphea's got to clear the mid lane with the double camp pressure here, along with the catapult. Well, Murky's just going to be a menace. He's just going to get whatever damage he can down here because Anubrak can't really stop him. First of all, Anubrak doesn't have a whole lot of health and mana to begin with, so there's nothing he can do except for chase down Murky. But that's going to give Murky, like, Murky wins this. He's getting siege damage in the mid lane by forcing the rest of the team to just follow him. Even what he's got here in the bot lane, like, he's only done a little bit of damage here, but he's forcing the team to follow him all over the place. And that's the thing about Murky. Like, Murky's, you know, not used often in high levels of play, but he can just be a distraction, a pain in the neck. He can be very difficult to kill if you're not, you know, if you're not focused on dealing with him. Punisher coming up in the top lane. This is going to be a frozen Punisher. It's in the strong lane for ProBUs. We do have level 20s for both teams. So Shaman Camp's being picked up as well. What do we have for level 20? So the Galloping Gate for Lunara, going to give her that 60% movement speed bonus. Rewind, of course, for Anubrak. The upgrade to Crushing Jaws. No one can stop Death from Malthael, given that buyback. And Alex Straza taking the bonus Lifebinder. So the triple every 2 seconds resetting the health bar. On the other side, we've got Varian's Legacy, given that dot damage. Here comes the Light Bomb, just barely able to hit there with the Falling Sword. And Johanna going into Indestructible as opposed to the upgraded Falling Sword. So looking for that defensive ability. Revolving Sweep coming out onto Dragon, and Dragon gonna fall between the damage from Kira and Asmodan there. The big dunk from Asmodan getting just loads of value. The final or last rights there, proccing Indestructible on Johanna. So she may actually fall here with the damage from Lunara. But it looks like instead Malthael is going to be the one to go down first here. And they do get the kill onto Johanna eventually. Malthael trading his life for that. Now again, he does have No One Can Stop Death, but I guess he must have used it. Let's see, 9 I think is him. No. So he could actually activate this still and come back into this fight if he felt like that was an appropriate thing. Now the potential issue there is that Anubrak is of course still down as well. So both teams, neither team has a heal, or I'm sorry, a tank. Yeah, I don't know. By not activate, like if he was going to activate it, he should have activated it earlier. So I'm assuming he's not doing it, and they're just going to try to defend against this Frozen Punisher. But that's a big problem. Frozen Punishers are huge. They get the structure lockdown, and when you've got a March of the Murlocs going on, you've got a Light Bomb, Falling Sword combo coming into your backline. And by the way, the upgraded Final Strike, which provides an instant reset on not just the ultimate, but all of Kira's abilities, and also does additional damage. This is looking like a dangerous place. And they may even lose bottom keep here. Very close, not quite. So the top fort is just done. It's gone. So we're going to see Nubrak is going to try to force it to burrow or to jump onto the front side of the wall so they can get as much damage over there as possible. The black pool also providing extra value because it reduces armor while you're in it. So there's the light bomb going out a little bit late there on the falling sword, so not quite able to get the stuns. Punisher jumping in onto the Nubrak, and look at how much damage is going out onto the beetle there. But ultimately able to make it out, and now the fort is shut down. Here come the Murlocs. And that is not an eternal Murlocs. He did go the reduced cooldown on Slime to 2 seconds, so that's a lot of damage coming out. But look at the Punisher getting a huge stun, multiple heroes rooted, and that's going to be 3 for nothing. As Malthael using that buyback, nobody can stop death. And that's going to be the keep. And it wouldn't surprise me here if they go for game. With no healer and no front line, the only heroes that ProBUs have available are squishy backliners right now. Malthael trying to heal up. And this is their final defense here. The finals, or the last rites going out onto out onto Kira, but not quite enough. The final strike just barely missing on the timer there, so Kira's going to go down, and we see them calling to go after the core. Crushing Jaws going out onto the Asmodan, but Lunara diving in there. Would not surprise me if she dies here. She does. She gets hit by that Chastise, and with the core at 35%, there aren't any catapults, but there's a Murky. Actually, there might be catapults down. Yeah, there's one catapult down here, so. Game number 1 going over to Church of Murky on Infernal Shrines. So overall, the kills were about even. But for the most part, it felt like that was a Church of Murky game. They were really strong in that game. There definitely were counter kills. Like, it was always, you know, if you killed one, they killed 2 kind of thing. So it was pretty close. But it looked primarily like Church of Murky had just slightly better camp pressure. They had slightly better timing, awareness. Their team fights, I think, were overall about equal, but the position of the map really gave them a lot of value. All right, let's get set up for game number 2 here. So where are we going for game number 2? Let's see, so that was blue team's map and blue team 1. Update that. So next map is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen. That was the map pick of Church of Murky. All right, get this loaded up. We'll call that a learning game for us. Fair enough, Tempest. Is this where I get the meth? Maybe, JakeBot. Maybe. Alright, let's see. Game number 2, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Let's go ahead and get our overlay set up for the teams. Looks like we're going to see Kira again. We're going to see several heroes, actually, that are the same. We're going to see a couple of different ones, though. Alright, all set up. Hopefully you didn't learn too much. Fair enough, Redbeard. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get the game started. Let me show you the maps, though, while we're waiting on it to load. Game number 1 we just saw on Infernal Shrines was selected and won by Church of Murky. Our map bans for Church of Murky were Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom. And then on the ProBUs side, we had the bans on Dragonshire and Sky Temple. And our second game going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen from Church of Murky is where we're going. And thank you to Rackham coming in with a group of community sub gifts. Much appreciated. So a couple of you I know are here, Trivati and Tempest Jet. Let me pause this. Afish and Ektar, I don't know if you guys are there, but I hope you enjoy the gifted subs and the puppy emojis. I think emojis, whatever they are. Streaming on payday, great. That's a I hadn't considered that. I need to consider that. You know, the 1st of the month, the 30th of the month, and the 15th, and then every other Friday. Probably a good idea. That's a great idea. I like that. Rackham, I'm gonna have to consider that going forward. Today was just luck. All right, get this down to quieter. Fix that and this. All right. Well, thanks, Rackham. I really do appreciate it. And you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do with that when we get to the end of the stream, because I've got the game queued up and ready to go. So let's get right into that. As we got to get the game. Let's see. There we go. All right, let's get this loaded. Right over here. All right. On the left, we've got Church of Murky. Redbeard's going to be playing the Chen, Shock on the Muradin, J-Show 574 on Ana, The Dude on Kira, and Orion on Sylvanas. Over here on the right for ProBUs, we've got Dragon 478 on ETC, Hung Fu on the Anduin, Aruba on Orphea, busting out those dance moves once again, Secret Asian Man on the Genji, and Sage on Imperius. I play enough Murky to know all his counters too. We might need to have a conversation because Murky has been a pain in the neck in a lot of games lately, it seems like. In Storm League for whatever unknown reason. But alright, so getting out of the gate. So again, Kira on the map. This is the original version of Kira, so a little bit on the strong side. Does get that revolving sweep onto ETC, and the Redbeard diving in on the Chen with that flying kick. Gonna help to secure, actually does secure the kill onto the ETC. First blood coming out from Church of Murky. Now, as you can see, the XP still pretty balanced as Imperius was able to come soak this entire lane, but Chen's able to get down here before I think maybe one of the minions died. So it's very, very minimal difference there, but a little bit. So early game XP, or early game kills are not a whole lot of XP. In fact, they're less than a minion wave, so we'll see how that turns out. Questing talents. Once again, we do have that Fatal Wounds for Kira. It's going to be Prog Rock for ETC, so looking for those globes. We also have the, is it Perfect Storm? Yeah, Perfect Storm for Muradin. So every time he stuns somebody, he's going to get 5 additional damage on those Storm Bolts here. But the ETC Power Slide onto the Dude is not going to get the kill. But just a quick reminder to the Dude that the cow means business. But with the full rotation here, this could be a problem again for the Beefcake, as Dragon 478 is taking a bunch of dot damage, is going to make use of the guitar solo to stay alive long enough to now Hearth. Looks like those are all the questing talents. Once again, a bold strategy from Anduin. And actually, is this a questing talent? No, it's not. I know he has a questing talent for globes at level 1, but I don't remember what it's called. What is this one called? Eye of the Tiger? So every time he basic attacks somebody with his Keg Smash, he's dealing more damage and healing himself. I think that's the most, or the more common pick. But check it out, Sage here now dealing with 2 heroes that are dotting him up, and doesn't have that level 4 talent yet to give the self-healing. But the counter kill coming in from Orphea, getting onto the Chen and dropping some gems, leaving about 6 of those gems on the table. So that's going to put ultimately Still the gem count slightly in favor, it looks like. Oh no, they're actually just about even. Never mind. So that evens them up. So the Dread talent coming in for Orphea at level 4, given the additional slow on the, I don't know, the arm of the Dread talent, as opposed to the circle at the end of it. And we do have Murden going into Thunderburn, so getting that additional burst out of his Thunderclap. So we'll see those occasionally here. Now, interestingly enough, we've got Ana not going into a grenade build, instead going into a sleep dart build here. The root coming out from Anduin likely saved ETC, aside from the Leap of Faith as well. But interrupting the Muradin dive, that Muradin Dwarf Toss would have put him in a position to body block the ETC. And if he didn't have the power slide to get out, that was probably a dead cow. Let's see, Kira continuing on with the same talents as last game, getting that auto attack armor. And again, Ana, now when she hits somebody with a sleep dart, it's going to put 4 doses on them. So at level 7, she could either go the reduced spell power, which is what I kind of expect her to take, maybe, or Night Terrors, which is a 10% of the player's health. So when they are awoken. 47 gems turned in for both sides here. Only 3 away until the first Web Weavers. Level 7's available here, and it is going to be the spell power reduction from Ana. So that's a huge value. If she can keep the stacks of her trait on an enemy hero, say an Orphea, then her ability to do damage is greatly reduced. Same thing even with Anduin. If you can get those doses up on Anduin, then his healing is going to be reduced. But it's going to be the Web Weavers going over for the first round to ProBUs. Level 7 now for Imperius, giving him that cleave talent. So that's going to increase his wave clear. It's also going to increase his self-sustain in these team fights. Power slide in onto Muradin and to Sylvanas. They both have escapes, so they are going to be able to get out. But they take a lot of damage, and even that Web Weaver throwing out the damage into the team there, not really respecting the positioning of where that wave is going. And it looks like it might even get another, yeah, it does get the Muradin again. So that's a lot of damage. You really have to pay attention to that. But the revolving sweep coming in onto ETC again, just so much damage from this Kira potential. And that's the case in a regular game too. I mean, Kira does a lot of damage to heroes at this point. It's less a little bit. It takes a little bit longer to finish that level 1 quest to get the additional time on her dot stacks, but it's still significant. Looks like Genji and ETC were looking for the Ana, but not quite able to get that power slide to land and secure that kill. But even still, again, like, Ana turns around, knocks out some spell power or a sleep dart. Yeah, and you can see these little down arrows here, implying that the hero is reduced, whether that, you know, spell power, attack power, or whatever. In this case, it's spell power. But that affects the Genji as well. His deflect, all those shots that he's throwing out, that's going to be less damage. His shuriken, less damage. Swift strike, less damage. But there's the Akira. Now, one of the ways you deal with Akira, as it looks like Muradin going in for the kill, not able to secure it though. One of the ways you deal with Akira when she pops that revolving sweep is either you use something like a cleanse. Leap of Faith certainly would work for that, but that's a long cooldown for a relatively short ability. But the cleanse would drop Kira off wherever she is. Now, you don't see Kira going a long time on her revolving sweep, so that's probably not, as we just saw right there, and she's getting, again, tons of damage onto the ETC. ETC has to pull out, may even die to that dot, just barely able to pull away. But the other thing you can do is use something like a power slide to cause her to be in a bad position, where she doesn't want to be. Hung Fu getting a load of damage here from the Chen is going to fall as Kira once again able to use that Carnage to land the additional strike, the wounds. I don't know what that's called. Let's look. Blood Rage, that's what it is. So getting that Blood Rage damage here. Now Sage diving over the wall, popping angelic armaments to try to stay alive here. The grenade, I mean, probably unnecessary. Didn't have any potential healing as nobody was close enough for the level 4 Valorous brand to provide any healing. But that's okay. So again, I mentioned it earlier. This is only a 40-second cooldown on Final Strike. So even just throwing it out there because it's a long-range ability, getting the damage is, you know, it's value. She's going to have that back up by the time the next fight rolls around. And now Church of Murky making their way to turn in. Looks like maybe Kira's going to try to get this camp started before they turn in the last 12 gems here. Now, who has those? Chen, maybe? No? Sylvanas has it, okay. So they're just going to get the camp and then they'll leave Sylvanas to pick up the Web Weavers. So for ProBUs, we've got some ultimates here. We've got the Mosh Pit, Crushing Jaws. Genji's got that Dragon Blade. For Imperius, we saw that in Angelic Armaments, and of course the Light Bomb for Anduin. On the other side, however, the Eye of Horus, which we saw earlier, if you saw the little zips, the tracer lines from Ana, the Storm, Earth, and Fire, Avatar, Final Strike, and of course the Wailing Arrow. So here comes the Imperius Celestial Charge, does land the stun onto Kira, but Murden diving in with the Dwarf Toss, tosses out the Avatar, and we get a two-man mosh, but the Wailing Arrow gets that interrupted, and now Dragon having to choose between going in with the Light Bomb or staying away, but either way, Final Strike is gonna get the kill. And Secret Asian Man gonna get caught by Redbeard on the Chen, getting some damage out, but it's gonna be the Blood Rage? What do they call that? Anyways, it's going to be the dot from Kira that ended up securing that kill. Almost even getting the kill onto Orphea. She was pretty low as well. And with the Sylvanas and Bruiser camp here, now there's a long revolving sweep from the dude there. Probably didn't have the grappling hook to get out, because I think that could have been a kill onto the Imperius. But that also would have put Kira under the fort, taking the tower shots for sure. There wasn't anything to soak him. So without the grappling hook, that was a big problem. But the Bruiser camp providing the spell armor and the Web Weaver going to get a lot of value onto this keep here. Dragon once again having to pull out. Did get the stun there, but Kira just lining up those final strikes. Sage getting the Light Bomb. Did get a big stun, but again, this Church of Murky team just doing so much work with the Kira. Genji trying to get some damage in. They do finish the kill onto Kira. And now Genji, you know, all these health bars are pretty low. So if Genji can get a good solid Swift Strike here, maybe onto this Ana. Not quite able to get to the Ana. But that's okay. So top lane Web Weaver gets all the way to the healing well. Not quite going to take down the keeps in the mid lane or in the top lane. And right now this feels a lot like game one for ProBUs. They're losing structures. They're not quite getting the kills that they want in these fights. They've only gotten a couple kills this game. That being said, I mean, 7 kills at this stage of the game. There's not a ton. It's okay, Hung Fu. It's okay. We all learn from our mistakes and get better as we go through time. And you know what, you guys made it all the way to grand finals, so I don't think you can be too embarrassed. But oh my goodness, the stun onto Genji as he was trying to use that cyber agility to get out of dodge. Had to use the Swift Strike. 14-13, and it looks like here we're gonna get some more gems turned in. ProBUs does have enough to turn in at this point, but they've got to get there. Now, Chen is pretty far back here. The knockbacks, and Secret Asian Man there on the Genji is going to get killed by the Final Strike. The Eye of Horus probably keeping the Chen alive. Sage now getting just destroyed here from the Sylvanas, just sitting on his... And now it's going to be ETC getting the same punishment. And if ETC goes down here, then I see absolutely no way they don't get this keep and potentially even the game. But With the kill onto 2 with the Imperius and Genji, we're going to see Chen rotating up onto the boss. Now, they know this is happening. They can see all of the heroes here coming into this. They can see the Sylvanas, and now she's gone. So they know that they're on the boss. I expect that they're probably going to go turn in, because they can't really get to the boss at this point, and that's what they're going to do. I also would have liked to see Genji maybe try to get this camp started. He was right there. They could have gotten the camp and the web weavers, which would have provided them pressure in the mid lane at least to offset what's going on in the top lane, because this boss likely will die between the team and the web weaver. You know, but if you can get the value going as well, either that forces Church of Murky to deal with the mid lane, in which case their top pressure is lessened, and you know, then they, you know, definitely don't get the keep, or you get your fort, you know, one way or the other. So we're just going to see a quick rotation. Church of Murky's already cleared out that mid web weaver. They're going to rotate down into the bottom, and they know that they don't have to worry about top. Top is so far back, and the boss is going to get significant damage on the keep, possibly destroy it if it can get another hit. Not quite. So there are 2 keeps very low on the side of ProBUs here that any one hero could walk in, take a couple tower shots, and finish off pretty much. I mean, what does this have? That's got a little more. 4,300. So that's going to take a little bit more effort. But it could happen. Ping's coming out here. Level 17 to 15, so this is a talent tier advantage here for Church of Murky, and there goes the Orphea crushing Jaws. No kills onto that, and ETC not quite in a position to get a mosh pit, is going to go down. Sage about to fall, as well as the entire blue team health bars just staying nice and healthy with the Eye of Horus, keeping them alive. Aruba trying to get as much done as Orphea can, but now they're calling for the pings onto this keep. And there's a good 20 seconds before ETC's up. Almost 30 until Orphea's up. And I think this could be their way onto the core. We'll keep an eye here. We'll zoom out a little bit so we can see as people load in. This core is already at 80% and falling quickly. Kung Fu standing in, and it looks like with that sleep dart, that's going to be the end of game number 2. A 2-0 victory for Church of Murky over ProBUs during the regular season week 7 of the Nexus Gaming Series. (13-2). So it's certainly a more aggressive game there coming out from Church of Murky, able to lock down those kills. Now, it'd be interesting to see, you know, how would the team do comparing now with the changes to Kira. You know, and she's been out for a little bit longer, so there's a little bit more interest in counterplay and all that stuff. So, as I mentioned earlier, in 2 days, these teams are going to be playing against each other once again in the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational. So we'll see if ProBUs's rise through the playoffs and their experience with some very entertaining teams and combos will provide them what they need to overcome the challenge of Church of Murky that they've provided in the regular season. So I don't believe there's a caster just yet for that. It is going to be Sunday at 8:30. So, you know, certainly check your local listings. Check in with the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational to see if there is a caster. And obviously for those of you playing in that, you can just check the schedule. But thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And you know what? I mentioned 2 things that I was going to bring up here at the end. The first I wanted to bring up is that this cast is number 101 for Arrow this season in NGS. This is a huge amount of casts, and it's been an absolute blast. I appreciate all of you who are here today or watching this again on the replays later on the VODs. You know, it's been fantastic. I got to see a lot of play throughout the, throughout NGS, all varieties of different divisions of play, and it's been really exciting to see that. I've also been able to have a variety of co-casters start you know, a weekly Sunday show in the NGS Rewind. You know, and I was even promoted to assistant headcaster. So, you know, apparently people thought I did a decent job here. So, you know, thanks again, everybody, for, you know, supporting Rackham, for the gift subs to the community. It's really fantastic. And that leads me into the other thing that I was going to talk about. So a lot of people have talked about, you know, Bahamut does the, you know, has the Bandit cam, right? He's got the opportunity to showcase Bandit. And as you can see, I do have, you know, my lovely Alpha off to the side here. She's actually asleep on the chair next to me right now. But I don't have a good space to do something like a Bandit cam. But what I can do, and what I'm gonna, I guess, commission somebody to do, is rearrange a little bit of the room. And I'm looking to get a multiple tiered, basically doggy bunk bed setup, because I've got the dogs. They all have their different beds. They all go to, sometimes I'll be in the other room on the actual bed versus their bed or whatever. But I'm gonna set up, with the money I'm getting from Twitch stuff, bits and subs, a multiple tiered thing. So Alpha can have her own tier away from Alice, and Al will have his, you know, larger bed. But that would be a place I can put a doggy cam. So you guys can have a little bit of entertainment when I do a solo cast and see the variety of dogs that I have sleeping in the background. So there you go. Thanks again. So yeah, I guess to mention, you know, if you happen to have like a Twitch Prime or something like that hanging out in your monthly opportunity, you know, maybe throw that over. Anyways, the NGS. Oh, tell the little people that I said good night, and that I'm happy that they were able to watch the stream as well. But yeah, so NGS is coming to a close. Make sure you check in to the Mead Hall on Sunday at 9 p.m. on the NGS channel, twitch.tv/Nexus Gaming Series. And we'll have some casting stuff throughout the off-season events with, you know, Zul'jin Distillery, with possibly some Heroes Lounge once I get all those things set up. So make sure you've at least followed so that you get notifications of when things are going live. That's it for me tonight. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all soon. Tell her night-night.